What changed for you with Daniel Milstein's comment?
Nothing. No. You know, we've said all along that we're going to make hard decisions if we have to, but our focus is on getting our team better and making it as competitive as possible for this spring, but also into the future, obviously. So if we have to make a hard decision, we will. We like Artemi and like to keep him, and if it's his right to go to the free agency, and if he chooses to do so, we'll be knocking on his door July 1. But, you know, it's we're going to go about our business here and try to win hockey games, make the playoffs, and go as deep as possible this spring too. So that's what we're going to focus on, and you know, I have total respect for all the players and their right to make a decision for their future, and my job is to look after the well-being of the organization and the franchise now and make it as competitive as possible, as I said, for the springtime, but also into the future.
Jarmo, if the decision ultimately is to trade him, perhaps, did that job get harder yesterday?
I don't see why.
As far as like teams maybe knowing now that he won't sign with you guys in the season?
I don't think that'll have anything to do with any of the.
Even JD and Bill Zito have played the long game here in terms of drafting development, not trading first-round draft picks for immediate help, that sort of thing. Is it conceivable, is it inconceivable that you could allow both Sergei Bobrovsky and Artemi Panarin to remain with this team through the deadline, given the risk of losing them with no compensation?
Well, I think we're going to have to weigh the decision in front of us as far as what what's out there in the marketplace. I think that's the only answer that I'm going to be able to give you, is that I've made the examples from last year where we had offers for Jack Johnson, a pending UFA, and Matt Calvert, and decided to keep him because we thought that was the best thing for our team in the short term, and the long-term benefits of trading him weren't good enough. So it's the same way in these situations where we're going to. My phone's been ringing off the hook today, so for various different reasons. So
have you been answering?
I can only answer one at a time. So, but I'm pretty good at returning phone calls.
Is that just by nature of where the calendar is now, Jarmo, and you expect things to pick up because we're getting closer and closer to trade deadline?
Yeah. There's always more activity, and you've seen in the past where there's lots of activity at the deadline. There's pending UFAs. There were last year. Some were kept. Some were traded for rentals, and that's the business here. You know, teams are in different positions, and they have to make decisions based on where they're at and what their future looks like and what their plans are. And so some teams are in the rental market trying to buy, and some teams are giving up rentals because they might be out of the playoffs or are looking more into the future. And those are the type of decisions we're going to have to make here in the near future.
When you see how well he has fit into this team on the ice and off the ice, I mean, how disappointing is it for him not to want to maybe show that he wants to stay here yet?
Yeah, it's disappointing, but all we can do is do our best, and I think that we've done our part, and we've done everything we can to make him feel home. We have a good team here around him, and I think that's basically all we can do. We have a great city here. We have great fans. We have a great facility, and so.
How has the team handled this from your perspective?
Oh, team's handling it great, and both of those players are true pros too, so they're handling it well, and they're playing hard for us. They're going to keep playing hard for us, and as long as they're Blue Jackets, they're going to put on that jersey and play their hearts out.
You referenced the approach with Jack at the trade deadline last year. I know you can't get into specifics too much, but does any trade for Panarin have to include for you immediate help? In other words, not a step back, futures as it's been talked about as an offer for you. Do you have to get something that certainly doesn't replace him, but gives you a chance to compete and fill a little bit his spot the rest of the way?
Well, it's hard for me to start speculating any of that, but generally you could say that the teams that are in the market right now to strengthen their team with something that might be a rental are not usually giving up roster players. They're trying to strengthen their team instead of instead of swapping players. So that doesn't necessarily apply to Panarin, but in general, that's the rule. They're giving up futures to get players to add to their team rather than giving a roster player and getting another one back. So that's a general rule.
So do you hold on to him if all you can get are futures?
Well, we'll see what's out there.
With that perspective, with Bob and Panarin, as far as the trade goes, knowing how much they mean to this year's team, how hard would it be to pull the trigger on a trade like that?
It all depends on what the marketplace looks like. I mean, I've said it before where we love Artemi, but we had 108 points before he arrived here in the season before that. And we're going to have a good team even if they choose to go to the free agent market. We got some really good players, really good core players. We have more coming that are not even here yet, and we're going to be okay.
Jarmo, has it been frustrating that there hasn't been more clarity from Artemi as to what he wants?
Well, I mean, I said it. I'm a little bit disappointed that we're in this situation, but I think you're going to have to talk to him about it. And I think he made his statement clear that he's going to concentrate on hockey now, and that's where it's at.